Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Locker Room Talk Uncut. I am Drew Garrison in the locker room with Chad Penrod. Today, we're going to go over what we've seen from the UD Flyers. The NFL Scouting Combine kicking off this week. We'll give you the players that we would want to put on our teams from the AFC West. Also going to get into who the top 5 NBA players of this year are, and then going into some questions from our listeners that we got via Facebook. So, Chad, let's get this thing rolling, man. First off, the University of Dayton Flyers up to number 4 in the country.
Wowzers.
17 straight victories, too.
Man, that was me and you. A lot of the listeners that listen to the last episode know we went to the game last Saturday against Duquesne. And what a performance Dayton had, especially in the second half.
First half was scary.
First half they scared me because it's like the defense was just awful.
A step slow.
Well, I wouldn't say all. I mean, yeah, awful. I would say awful because they should have probably blowed them out. But yeah, man, that was fun. That atmosphere, that how they've redone the building, and
beautiful. And
man, just a great time. That was a super fun time.
Yeah, man, and getting down there, we got there pretty early, like to see all the build up, man, and it's like, okay, there's not that many people here, but man, right at game time, just packed to the brim. I mean, I didn't see an empty seat. Tickets for that thing were going up to $118, but luckily us with our high profile sports media credentials, we were able to get in for free.
Yeah.
Very respected members of the media, so they wanted us there, but man, packed to the brim. It rivals some of the experiences you see at some of these other bigger schools that you watch on TV. Now, I haven't been to a lot of those, but I mean, just as hype, just as much, energy, just as nice as of a facility as I think that you can see. And Obi Toppin, man, holy shit.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to bring that up. He is. I've seen a few college basketball games in my life. Nothing too big. But my God, he is by far the best college basketball player that I've ever watched live.
Oh, yeah, live.
What was his numbers again? 28
points, 7 boards, and I think he dunked the ball like 6 times.
I think he had a double-double, didn't he? Do you remember the stats on that?
Well, I know I caught it walking out, because they were kind of doing some talking over the PA and kind of announcing some stats. I don't know, man. He was just all over the court. I remember, before the game, I'm like, all right, is this guy going to hit threes? And he did. I think he had 4 or 5 of them. So, he was doing it all, man. The defensive end, making a presence as well. So, it was really very fun to see him in person.
Yeah, me personally, seeing him, dude, that looks like a top 5 NBA pick,
he does.
Man, in the draft. That dude, he was balling out of his mind.
Just energy, man. Just energy.
And yeah, our big question going in, could he hit that 3-shot consistently, man? And he was nailing the 3-shot, alley oops, dunking it. He was doing everything. And like I said, I've never seen a college basketball player live that good, and I don't even think it's close to what I've seen. And I even seen. I'm going to throw this name out there, man. I seen Luke Kennard play live at UD.
Yeah, we went to that.
And I don't think Luke at this point, now I'm not saying, either's going to be better in the NBA. That's
Obi's going to be better than Luke Kennard.
That's a tough, yeah. That's a tough league. But, at that point in college, at that point at UD, I would say Obi Toppin is definitely better at Luke Kennard.
Yeah, and the numbers, he played 37 of 40 minutes, so he didn't sit the bench. Shot 11 for 16, 3 of 5 from 3. I felt like he hit more threes, honestly. 7 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal. So, just the numbers don't even show the stamp that he put on that game in my eyes. I couldn't believe I don't know how effortless it looked, and Duquesne has a good program. They have a good history out there in Pennsylvania, but not, huge competition. That's still my kind of let's wait and see. But,
yeah, they got their last home game. Well, they just squeaked by George Mason. What was that last night?
Yeah, Tuesday night they did. They snuck by Jordan Mason. It was a little bit closer than I would like to have seen. So it makes me wonder how long they can ride it out. But either way, man, 17 straight is impressive.
Definitely. They're kind of at a stage where I hate to say this because I don't ever want to see any of my teams lose. And I would love to see them win the Atlantic 10 championship.
Right.
But would you like to see them lose just to get that monkey off their back before they go into the playoffs?
I would like them to do it before they go into the A-10 tournament if it's going to happen.
And you were right, actually. 28 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. So you were right there.
If the numbers just don't even show the stamp he had on the game to me. If they're going to drop a game, I'd rather it be in the regular season.
Yeah.
Get it out of your system Friday night even.
Yeah.
Dick Vitale's going to be there at UD Arena.
Yeah, we just seen
awesome.
that, man. That's big. I mean, you're doing some pretty big shit when Dick Vitale's going to be the announcer of your game.
Yeah, absolutely. So if they are going to drop one, let's get it out of the way early, go win the A-10, and then go into the tournament with that conference championship confidence.
Yeah.
You don't want them to lose, but I understand what you're saying.
And I understand the streak and, keeping it going, in the Atlantic 10 conference championship and all that. But, dude, they're playing a little sloppy at points, but they are obviously they're winning, they're beating teams they should. But you start after that second round,
bored.
man. Yeah, exactly. After that first and second round in the March Madness tournament,
no room for error.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be perfect. Last thing I want to say on Dayton before we switch topics here. Last home game is Friday against Davidson, so if you haven't been down there and you got your chance, this is for the listeners, you got a chance to get some tickets, go down there and root them on, man, because we might not never see another Dayton team like this because this team is really, really good.
Special, man, and you're right. They're definitely doing much more than that Elite Eight team from a few years ago did. They were kind of more of a surprise once they got into the tournament. So
right.
it'll be good to see how
this team's definitely better than that team.
Oh yeah. As much as I love my boy Scoochie Smith, but it's going to be interesting to see because now they have the expectation, they have the clout that they've earned. How do they carry that in? The last UD team was like underdog story. We're scrappy. We're going to, knock these guys off. So you got some expectations on your shoulder. You're in the top 5 of the country, number 4. You're ranked higher than teams like Duke, who laid a fucking egg against Wake Forest.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to make it very far.
Yeah, I'm not.
As far as Duke goes.
If Trey Jones isn't on, we're in trouble.
Just young.
Yeah, so lots of good stuff, man. March Madness is going to start ramping up. Cannot wait. Always just TV after TV and just all day long. So we'll have plenty more on the Flyers. We'll keep following them. We'll be tuned in tomorrow night to get the lowdown on the matchup against Davidson.
That is tomorrow. Shit. Friday is tomorrow.
Yeah. So
but just to end it here, just like I said, I'm going to repeat it. If you get a chance and you can grab a ticket for cheap or however you can get a ticket, if you can afford it, go down there and cheer on the Flyers, man. It's a great time.
Yeah, you won't regret it, man. It's a good time.
You kind of want to stick to basketball here, with it being basketball season. A lot of listeners asked us who our top 5 current NBA players are. So this isn't this isn't top 5 ever, so this is the top 5 current
active
players in the NBA right now. And I'm gonna let you go first on this one here. Let's start with your number 1. Who's your number 1 current, the best player in the NBA right now?
Well,
if you're building a team, who would you take 1 if there was a fantasy draft?
Well, that's different too. If I'm building a team because I'm looking to the future, but what I want to ask before we get into it. Are we taking injury into account?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Got to.
Because KD would probably be my 1 if I'm building a team right now.
Yeah, I'm going with you. Number 1, I'd have KD. That 7-foot wingspan. When he can just his 7-foot jumper.
But he's got the personality of a fucking bitch.
Yeah,
too,
but offensively, probably I would say definitely the best offensive player in the league. And he's coming on defensively,
Yeah.
And at length, I guess he's kind of learning how to finally use his arms and, block shots and, maybe a lockdown defender. There are times
close to it. Yeah, I've seen him do it in big moments.
Yeah, I mean he plays great D in big moments. But yeah, I'm going with you. I'm Kevin Durant first.
But if we're taking the injured guys out though, is that what we're doing? Or are we saying he would be in it? Like I would take a flyer on him if I'm building a team now recovering from the
yeah. I mean,
okay. Yeah, so that would probably be one, would be KD, just a 7-footer that can shoot from anywhere on the floor. As you said, he's coming along defensively. I don't like his personality much at times. I think he's kind of bitchy. I think he
kind of soft at moments,
but tries too hard to be hard
on the court where the cameras are on. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, he cares what people think enough to make
definitely.
a fake Twitter account.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then he gets on the court and he. Just touching on that, and I won't go too far into it, but LeBron went to the Heat and embraced that villain role, and I think he did it well. I think KD went and overdid it a little bit because, like, you're going to a 73-9 team. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely. It's hard to count his rings and Golden State.
Right.
I mean, it's definitely hard to do. With that being said, I still think he's the best player in the NBA, even though he hasn't even played this year. I think he's going to come back and just dominate the league, and that's why we've talked before. It's like if you want your championship, get that now because next year, Kevin Durant is up with Kyrie, and hard telling what else they'll get.
Kyrie's also a bitch.
Yeah, and it's going to be Kyrie's just weird.
He's weird as fuck.
All right, so who are you taking second?
So 2, looking at building my franchise for the future from this point forward. I gotta go Giannis. I gotta go with the Greek Freak. I mean, as soon as he's starting to get it, but man, as soon as he develops a consistent outside shot, holy shit.
Yeah. Second, we're probably flipped here. Second, I'm actually going to take Kawhi Leonard. It's definitely close, super close there. But because of the reason what you said, Kawhi has a jumper, he can hit the three.
Not on my fucking 2K.
You seen it in the All-Star game. I know it's just an All-Star game, but shit, he was like 9 for 13 from three. MVP, on the All-Star game where they're actually trying this year. And obviously that don't mean nothing. But Kevin Durant wasn't playing either. But
right,
I just Kawhi. They both play defense. Kawhi just to me separates a little bit with that jumper.
Oh, he still plays better defense than KD. He'll lock down your best player on any night.
Oh yeah, LeBron hates when he guards him.
Oh yeah, Kawhi didn't make 2 for me just on the simple fact of he's what 26 I want to think 26, 28, but he's young, but the injury concerns are still lingering a little bit.
Is it an injury or is it load management?
Management, though, what are you protecting yourself from? LeBron's 35 and plays every night.
I think that they see. I think that the Clippers just see that how loaded that team is, and it's just getting them there together with Kawhi and PG and just being ready for the playoffs.
You better have some time to gel first.
Because we've talked about this, how long that the NBA season is. I mean, you don't have to play every game. And
Kawhi, the load management thing's one thing. I don't particularly like it, but he's got this aura about himself of the humble guy, the robot, the quiet, show no emotion. But, dude, we saw this summer. Own the fact that you're a fucking superstar diva just like everybody else. But with the load management, the fact that he's not going to play in many back-to-backs and he takes a lot of nights off, knowing that about him and that was part of his free agency decision, any team in the league would say, sure, that's fine, don't get me wrong. But I'm just going to take the guy that hits the floor every night in Giannis, who's a little bit younger. Also, a little bit more of a personality and a little bit more marketable for my team going forward.
I love Giannis, definitely. We can go back to the load management thing here. Like, they're still third in the West, and he hasn't played a ton of games. One game behind? No, there are a few games now behind Denver. But actually, the team coming on right now is Houston, 5 straight, only 1 game behind the Clippers. Now, how interesting does that get? And what I mean by that, and I don't want to get off topic here, but we can hit on this for a second. What if the Rockets pass the Clippers And then what you're setting yourself up for is a 4-5 matchup, and then the Lakers possibly see the Clippers in the second round if what the Rockets are doing keeps working like it is now. I mean, man, you're talking about some good playoff basketball there in the second round.
Well, if I'm the Lakers, give me the Clippers as early in the playoffs as possible.
I don't want to see them at all.
Well, they're going to have to if they want to get to where they're going.
Until the Western Conference
because
Finals.
The Clippers beat Houston in 5.
Oh, man, because it's going to – I mean,
the Clippers beat Houston in 5.
It's going to be a shitstorm if the Lakers get taken out in the second round.
Well, the Clippers, I think, care more this year about beating the Lakers in the playoffs than they do about anything else, including winning a championship. Steve Ballmer wants his own building. He wants to not be the guys paying rent in Staples Center. They want to see the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
That might be right from a an owner's standpoint, but you can't tell me guys like Paul George and even Kawhi and Lou Williams, man. You can't
Lou
tell
Williams
me that those
deserves
guys
one.
don't want a ring.
No, you're right.
Over just beating the Lakers. I think you're right from an owner's standpoint, but from a player's standpoint, I don't think no way.
If it happens to where the Rockets pass the Clippers and the seeding goes out that way, the Clippers beat the Rockets in 5 to 6 games.
Probably, yeah.
Pretty easily. I think Kawhi takes Harden away. Westbrook can't hit shots enough, and they got no
Westbrook
size.
has been balling.
And they got no size.
So third, what, you're going Kawhi or how's that?
I would probably go with Kawhi at 3.
Third, I'm going Giannis. Like I said, that's close.
Yeah, it's not far off. I also may have to disclose that I'm still a little bit bitter about how Kawhi did the whole thing, because I think he kind of strung the Lakers along and fucked them over and used them as leverage for the Clippers to go get somebody. Players and all that have come out and said that he was very, very close to signing with the Lakers. But yeah, Kawhi third. I mean, he's still going to score. He's still going to lock your best defender down. He doesn't have the personality or whatever, but also he's not going to get you in any trouble with any stupid shit he says.
Right.
Never had any trouble off the court.
Plus, he's got a nice laugh.
To be an outburst, I think is what Kevin Hart said. That would probably be 3 for me.
And then number 4, I'm going with LeBron James, obviously, even at his age. And I think maybe age is a big reason why at this point in the NBA, and don't get me wrong, LeBron's still carrying the Lakers and carrying teams even as, what is he, 34, 35, something like that. He's still carrying a team. He's still in great shape. I mean, he takes care of his body better than any athlete ever.
He's inspired younger generations.
Yeah, and I don't even think that's not even arguable. But fourth, I just think those other 3 guys are better at this point. For instance, you can see Giannis and you can see Kawhi when they guard LeBron. He
wants to be a fucking jump shooter. All of a sudden.
Well, he's not the same player. I mean,
he's scared.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say LeBron James is scared, but
I watch LeBron James be scared.
I mean, it's
I watch
tough
every
to
Lakers
say
game.
something else, but yeah, I mean, I have LeBron 4, and this isn't no diss to LeBron. Obviously, LeBron won the Cavs championship, but yeah, I don't think he's as good as the other 3, but obviously, he's still a top 5 player.
I think you can make an argument that he's still the best player in the league. But building a team the way we're talking,
fans will.
I'm not a LeBron fan.
No, I'm saying that I think he's also on your team.
Right.
Like I would be probably a little biased if he was still in the Cavs.
But building a team wise, that's fair. I'm actually not even going to put him at 4 though, and maybe I'm just looking at it from more of a long term perspective. Maybe that's something that I shouldn't do, but in the way that I'm thinking about it, Luka at 4. Dude, he's a fucking killer, dude.
Nah, don't get me wrong, Luka's going to be a baller, and he's only 19 years old.
And his mom is hot.
But not yet. I mean, if you're there already, not yet. I don't have him in my top 5.
I think, and I'm looking at it different, because top 5 is different than the guys that if I'm starting a team today. So Man, Luka's a fucking killer, man, and he's relatively cheap right now. I could build around him for a couple years.
You've been watching my 2K team too much, man.
Shit, too much. But no, I love Luka, man. I think he's a killer.
No, Luka's
he's
baller,
a cold
dude.
blood. I don't know. I think he's going to be there for a long time. And building a team, I'm going to go there. At 5, at his advanced age of 35, I will still take LeBron.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, did you see the picture he posted on Instagram of dunking on Josh Hart, and Josh Hart's face is literally on his dick?
Yeah. They call it a mushroom stamp.
If Suck My Dick was a person, that was it. But, I mean, he's playing point guard this year effectively. And that's something that I think was hyped up when he was getting the Cavs to the finals every year over the last couple of years. But, man, his passing, I think, has been overshadowed a little bit. He still puts the ball on a dime, man, from a guy that big. The comp to me is Magic Johnson with him.
Yeah.
But, the way that he can still pass the ball, still get to the rack when he wants to. Sometimes I think he's a little too passive, and I don't know why. And it could be certain guys guarding him. I think he tries to force feed AD a little bit too much too. I don't know if that's like hey, we're in this together, sign that contract this summer, what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they should be about winning.
And he's playing defense this year at a level that I personally haven't seen him play it at.
Yeah.
So yeah, and again, looking at it from the aspect of building a team, LeBron's got power in the NBA.
Oh yeah, definitely.
With Rich Paul and Clutch Sports and all that. So
it's like the only power I've seen him have since he's been in the NBA, because nobody's really wanted to play with him. It seems that way anyway. I don't know if shit's just weird for 16 year or 16, 17, however long he's been in the NBA, and shit just don't work. But man, there's just players that just do not want to play with LeBron. I mean, he had to go to Miami. And then he went back to the Cavs, and Kyrie was already there. And then
he wanted away.
Yeah, Kyrie wanted away. Love came. Love was willing to play them, but Love's not even. I wouldn't have him. Top 10 or 15 players in the NBA. My fifth.
Bring back fat Kevin Love with the line beard. That's what we need.
My fifth should be, anybody that knows me knows where I'm going with this. The beard, James Harden. Is just, to me,
the most overrated player in the NBA.
I don't know how you guys can I don't know how you guys can say that, but he is the second best scorer in the NBA, only to Kevin Durant.
It's because he gets 9 steps on every shot attempt.
And we argue about this all the time.
This could be a whole episode.
Oh, this could last forever. I say that he's changed the game, and they laugh at me, but from a foul standpoint, now, I'm not going to say he did it from his play, his play on the court, but from a foul standpoint, he's constantly getting fouled, or he's getting the calls, with his what the fuck, what's the word?
Come off a screen, get up under somebody's arm and go up for a shot. Like, get the fuck out of here.
But here's my thing, and I've said this, I've never said this on the podcast, but I've said it. I don't like how Harden is treated. Because, and you'll be like, what? He gets the most calls. Yes, he does. But come playoff time, he's used to those calls, and he doesn't get those calls. I get it. It's playoff basketball. It's a different time. You're playing for a championship. They can't give you all the corny shit, and I will admit some of those are corny. But why? Why call it in the regular season if you're not going to call it in the playoffs? You've made him transition his game to getting these fouls, and come playoff time, he doesn't get the foul calls.
Well, if he's a top 5 player in the NBA, he should be able to overcome not getting the calls and still will his team to wins. They had the fucking...
but because, he is constantly leading that team to a 2 or 3 seed. I think, last year was a 1, right? Or was it the year before?
They might have been the one last year.
Didn't they have the 1 over Golden State?
They may have, because there was some infighting going on.
But that's what I'm saying. He's leading the team. That's it.
In the regular season.
Yeah, in the regular season. But there's a lot of guys that are not doing shit in the playoffs.
No, that's very true. I just when it comes to Harden, those foul calls are so cheap. And man, they
shouldn't give it to him.
They had Golden State on the ropes.
Yeah, and they couldn't
in
finish.
The playoffs. Lost Chris Paul, I will say that. But the closeout game
with Chris Paul, they win that game.
Yeah, but in that closeout game, they were still right there.
Yeah,
I just haven't seen
and
Harden.
they missed 22 threes in a row.
Yeah, I haven't seen Harden put him on his back like he should when it matters most, and that bothers me. And I guess I would agree with you to an extent. Okay, if you're going to call it in the regular season, call it in the playoffs, or don't call it at all.
Right.
But
I just don't like that.
But getting used to it in the regular season, I get. But in the postseason, man, you gotta. If you want to be that guy, you want to be a top 5 NBA player, put that shit on your back and let's roll.
Yeah, no, I mean I can see your guys'.
I just think he's fucking corny.
So many. I'm one of the only Harden fans that I know. But
give me Russ over Harden.
Oh my God, you're fucking crazy. You are fucking crazy. Wow.
No, seriously. I know Russ isn't the great shooter, but
no way.
I like his game more. I think he attacks the game more. I think he'll run through a motherfucker's face more.
You can't sit here and call Harden overrated and not call. Come on,
Russ isn't overrated.
So was Russ on the team with Kevin Durant when they gave up that 3-1 lead?
Yeah, he absolutely was.
Okay, it's what has Russ did since KD's left?
I think he might have made the playoffs.
He hasn't even won a playoff game.
Playoff series.
How many has Harden won? Come
several.
on, that's
several.
Argument over.
I don't think
argument
so.
over. You can't shit on Harden and then
Harden's had
talk
a lot,
about how good Westbrook.
Harden's had a lot more help in Houston than Russ did after KD left.
Well, I mean, Steven Adams. Who else was on that team?
Good question.
Oh,
Exactly.
come on. No,
like Dennis Schroeder and shit.
Dennis Schroeder's good.
Come on, man.
Dennis Schroeder is nice.
Not playoff good.
No, you're comparing this to like Trevor Ariza and fucking Dennis Schroeder's no bum compared to Trevor Ariza. Yeah, Capella, but he had Steven Adams.
Steven Adams isn't all that good. He gets rebounds. That's about it.
I might take. It would be close between Steven Adams and Capella. I mean, you're talking
it'd be
neck
close.
and neck.
Yeah.
It just.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just shit on Harden and then hype up Russell Westbrook. To me, that's just. No.
And Russell run through your motherfucker.
Don't get me wrong. Russell Westbrook is a better athlete, but he can't shoot like Harden. There's a lot of things he can't do like Harden.
Maybe I just like the player type better because Russell run through your fucking face. Harden's going to try to get up under your arm and then pull up.
Yeah, I mean, I like Russell's attitude. He don't give a shit who you are.
He'll fight the fans.
Oh yeah. He don't give a shit. I'm just saying. Come on, man. Don't do that to my boy Harden.
Fuck James Harden. All right, so hoops, man, we're done with that for the day. Let's talk some NFL. AFC West. The listeners really like this segment where we kind of break down the division, the best players from that team or from that division on those teams that we would like to put on our respective teams. Chad.
No, what's going on is you're building a team. I'm taking the best player available.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I might have to trade a lot, especially the receivers. I got to trade a lot of receivers. But.
He's got 8 top receivers on his team. But so, Chad, the Cleveland Browns. Who are you putting on the Cleveland Browns from the Los Angeles Chargers? I'm glad I didn't call them San Diego because I still do it a lot.
There's a lot of good players.
There are actually.
Over there. You got Melvin Gordon. Austin Eckler isn't even bad. You got Keenan Allen. I could take another receiver.
God damn.
They're
playing linemen now.
Right. I'm going to go with. I'm going to get some secondary help back there in the back, and I'm going to go with Darwin James.
Stud.
Darwin James is a stud. I mean, I know he's been injured a little bit here. But you want to talk about, a guy in the back end of your secondary that won't only just knock somebody out, but, track down the ball, make tackles. And
he hits like a linebacker.
Oh, yeah, and super young. I love Darwin James' game. The Chargers are one of those teams, man. It's just like they get rattled with injuries every single year. It's somebody. And Darwin James is on the list of, guys that's been injured. But, injuries aside, and like I said, they got a lot of, good players on that team. But I'm going with Darwin James.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. I don't even want to say this because I know what's going to come after it.
You going to take a Buckeye?
I got to go Joey Bosa. I mean...
Yeah.
And any time that I give any kind of credit or say that I would want a Buckeye player on my team. Everyone's like, he's a closet Ohio State fan. Oh, my God. No. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When they hit the pros, I separate. You have to separate it. My college loyalty stops where the NFL draft begins.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
don't get me wrong. I'll still follow some Buckeyes around, but it's like, but when for instance, one of my Buckeyes players goes to the Browns, like Denzel Ward, it's that much better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To enjoy it.
And it stings when a guy like my favorite Michigan player, probably in the last 5 years, Jabril Peppers, gets drafted to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Glad he got out of that shithole.
Man, he's playing good too. I miss him.
He is. But I mean, looking at Bosa, 1, 2, 3, 4 years in the league, 40 sacks, so he's averaging 10 sacks a year. Young, pass rusher, got to get that's probably the second or third most important position in football.
Just because, I mean, it's easy to take Bosa. I don't get me wrong. I think Darwin James is a little better at his position than Joey is in his. And I don't know if this is easier for you, an easy question for you as it is for me. Would you take Joey Bosa over his brother Nick Bosa?
No, I would not.
No, I think Nick. I don't know what
Nick is better.
Nick just seems stronger, faster, just right down the list, man. I just think Nick Bosa is but he's definitely better than his brother Joey.
I think Nick Bosa sold it for me, and like I said, this isn't any secret Ohio State loyalty or any of that stupid shit that you guys will say. You too, fucker. You like to do it. Just
you like
me going.
Ohio State deep down.
But him sacking Baker Mayfield and doing the flag wave was fucking awesome. I thought that was cool as fuck. But
as a Buckeye fan, that is cool. I mean,
it's funny.
I thought it was a little weird just because
he quit on him.
It would have been different if
he did quit on Ohio State.
It would have been different if that would have happened like Baker was still in college and he was in college.
Yeah.
Like you're playing for the fucking San Diego Charger. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. As a Buckeye fan, I enjoyed it. I just thought it was kind of, I don't know, maybe a little corny.
I guess that was just his first crack at him.
And then did you see Mark Andrews?
Well, I don't think I did.
When the Ravens beat the 49ers, Mark Andrews planted the flag for Baylor or for Baker.
Oh, really? Is Mark Andrews from Oklahoma?
He was Baker's tight end.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't realize that. But getting back to what we're talking about, Joey Bosa is going to be my edge rusher I pull out of that division. Not as good as his brother, but still a very effective pass rusher. Looking back to this most recent year, he had 11 and a half of those sacks, 67 tackles, 47 solo, 18 for loss. But he hit the quarterback 31 times. So that pressure. Pass rusher, second, third most important position in the NFL. So I'll go there. Let's go to the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, that one's going to take some getting used to. The players that we would take from the Las Vegas Raiders. And that's actually kind of a tough one. They're kind of going through a talent purge. They're going through kind of a transition. Some encouraging things at the end of the year, but I'm going to go with the guy that surprised me this year. I didn't really see it coming. I thought the pick in the first round was a reach, but Josh Jacobs put together
damn good running, man.
I'm surprised
you didn't go with Vontaze Burfict.
Is he still a Raider? He got reinstated. Vontaze has been reinstated.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw that the other day. God, I was still going to root for Vontaze Burfict, and I've made a lot of excuses for him over the years, but, dude, that last hit was so bad. He could have fucking killed that guy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Josh Jacobs, I mean, he came into the league as a rookie, 1,150 yards, only 7 touchdowns, averaging 4.8 yards a carry on 242 attempts. Not really big on Bama running backs here in the past, but, it took Derrick Henry even a couple years, but now he's possibly the best running back in the game. So I was never big on Bama backs. I didn't see this one paying off too well for him, but it did. So I'm going to put him in the backfield. Got Joe Mixon back there. Got Josh Jacobs in there. We got a good running attack. Got my receivers all set. So Josh Jacobs is going to be the man I pick. So you get to fly out to Oakland. You get to pick a player off the team and bring him back to Berea and put him in orange and browns. Who you going with? Orange and brown. Who you going with?
Oh, this is actually an easy one, man. Of course I'm going with Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack. I'm just playing. Who in the fuck trades Khalil Mack?
Then spends a whole year saying it's really important and very hard to find somebody that can rush the passer effectively.
No, I'm Josh Jacobs is going to be a great running back, and they actually have a decent line in Oakland, especially for the passing. They're good. They're good at protecting their quarterback on passing downs, and when he has to drop back and pass. But the guy that I'm going to go with kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, a lot of people didn't even draft this guy in fantasy, but it's tight end Darren Waller. He is a stud, man. 90 catches last season for 1,145 yards.
That's a lot from a tight end.
And 3 touchdowns. And he was definitely Derek Carr's favorite target. Even with Tyrell Williams, coming over from San Diego. I mean, he was great. Obviously there was some shit there with AB and shit. AB didn't even. I don't even know if he even played, but he didn't even play.
He didn't play with one.
He was too worried about his helmet. But Darren Waller, man, he's a fucking freak athlete. It's kind of what we say, and we've touched on it here on previous episodes, is how important that tight end position is. And Darren Waller, is one of the probably top 5 tight end already. And like I said, this guy came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I wouldn't disagree with that one at all. So
let's
finally got a tight end to block and 12 receivers.
Yeah. So what about the Denver Broncos? Who you going there?
Easy.
Are you thinking
Joe Flacco?
Of course.
No. Honestly, looking through their roster, that was a little bit of a tough one.
Which are the Raiders?
The Broncos.
Oh, the Broncos.
Did I say Raiders? I'm sorry.
No, you didn't.
Broncos.
I just thought you were saying the last one.
The Raiders was still kind of tough too.
To me, it was Waller or Josh Jacobs.
I mean, Von Miller's an easy one to pull. It's a big name, but he's getting up there in age, and I just got Bosa from down there, and
you need to get like Philip Lindsay to go with Josh Jacobs.
Well, I already got Joe Mixon. Kept Mixon.
I'm just playing.
So I'm probably going to look into more of the internal kind of things, like the guys that play a little bit more on the inside, and go with offensive tackle Garrett Bowles.
He's
cool story. Kind of like in trouble, I think, as a kid a lot, if I remember right. But young guy, 6'5", 300 pounds, big, nasty, shore up the offensive line kind of guy. Put him on the right side and send Bobby Hart to fucking Sweden or something.
Yeah.
And lock down the right side of the offensive line with Garrett Bowles. Kind of somebody I've been a big fan of. He doesn't get a lot of hype. He's not really touted as a top offensive lineman. I personally just like him, and he doesn't really give up a lot of pressures, doesn't give up a lot of hits. So I'll go with him, big, nasty man out of Utah, just to kind of shore up things and protect my young franchise quarterback.
I'm going to, like you said, real easy to go with Von Miller here. You pass rusher, but I'm actually going to go to the other side and add another Chubb to the Browns.
I thought
here.
about that.
I'm going to go with Bradley Chubb, and I know that he's coming off a torn ACL, but the dude, when you put him on the other side of, and the Browns could have done this, and they didn't. They ended up going with Denzel Ward, which it's not a bad pick. Denzel's a baller too, but they put him on the other side of Von Miller, and this dude was screaming after the quarterback. I mean, he only 2 seasons in. And was getting there, and like I said, it's just the reason I'm taking him is because obviously I already have Myles Garrett there on the other side, so I'm just going to put Chubb on that other side to where he's going to get a lot of 1-on-1s, and I see him getting to the quarterback there a lot, but Denver definitely has some good players, Von Miller and Chris Harris, and who'd you take?
I took Garrett Bowles.
Philip Lindsay, so there's some good players there in Denver, man. They just got to build on, the team they have and get that quarterback position figured out.
Drew Lock, he's fucking rapping Young Jeezy and Young Jock and shit on the sidelines. Dude,
and the jury's still out on him, though?
Jury is definitely out on him, but I think he'll be the starter, and I actually think he'll be good. And he's got himself a friendly-looking girlfriend that's all over Instagram. So
Pervert, man.
Hey, I'm just saying she looks like a nice lady. But yeah, I'm a big Drew Lock fan just because he's got that swag. So let's move on to the Kansas City Chiefs.
I don't know where I'm going to go here, man.
Yeah, this one's really tough coming through the roster. Nothing really jumps out at me.
I mean, you can look at the roster and you can honestly be like, him. But come on. You know, everybody should have the same answer on this.
I mean, it's simple. Patrick Mahomes.
That's right, Patrick Mahomes.
And I say that knowing that on my team I got my franchise quarterback Joe Burrow. I say that sitting here wearing a Smokin' Joe shirt that's got Joe Burrow burning up a cigar after the national championship game. I'm all in. But it's Patrick fucking Mahomes, dude.
Come on, that dude is
Kermit voice and ketchup on the steak and all. Come on into Cincinnati
Yeah.
and let's sling that thing. And sorry that we drafted John Ross one pick ahead of you.
Man, just, you know, a Super Bowl MVP already, a league MVP already. This dude does it all. You know, we've said, you know, what would he be without Andy Reid? But the fact is we don't know. I mean, I think
we'll never know.
Well, we might. Andy might, you know, retire before he's done playing.
Yeah, but he's had how many years to mold Patrick Mahomes into what he is?
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, you know, with coaching, you know, with how coaching is.
He would have won a ring with Marvin Lewis.
I mean, obviously, in my opinion, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Fucking has a cannon, accurate,
sidearm, left hand, no look.
I mean, he can do just everything that you want a quarterback to do plus more. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know if we have to spend a lot of time on that. But Patrick Mahomes, actually, if I'm taking one player in the league, if you'd say, hey, here's the list of every player in the league, who you taking? I'm taking Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I mean, like I said, sidearm balls, no-look balls, throwing them with his offhand, just improvising. And he's great off-script.
What I love seeing, you know, going on, you know, Des Bryant's posting a lot of, you know, videos. I don't know if he's trying to get back in the league. I don't care about Des Bryant. But Patrick Mahomes literally just won the Super Bowl a month and a half ago, however long it's been. The dude's already back on the field working. Dude. And that's what you do, man. When you're great, you got to keep working. You know, you don't want to, you know, just sit there and just get complacent, you know, but you want to keep working on your craft, man. And he's only going to get better.
And he's like fucking superhuman healing powers. What did he do last year? Dislocate or break his kneecap?
Or
some shit and missed a week. Like,
yeah.
What? Holy shit.
Yeah, dude's legit, man.
Mahomes.
I'm a big fan. I can't hate on Mahomes, man. Mahomes is the real deal.
Yeah, big Patrick Mahomes fan. Yeah, and I'm with you. Anybody in the league, give me a roster with nobody on it. I'm going to start it with him and build it around him. So, yes. Pat Mahomes, come on down to Cincinnati.
Yes, sir. So you just going to keep it on in the NFL here with the combine. I actually think they got out on the field today.
Yeah, a guy got fucking. You know they do that gauntlet drill where they run across the field catching balls. This dude, I can't remember who it is, got drilled in the fucking face. It was hilarious.
Brad looking the wrong way, look left, look right, get drilled. I'm kind of going to let you take on this one, Drew, just for the fact that here's what I think about the combine this year personally. The two guys you want to watch aren't even going to throw. They're not going to do anything, and I don't blame them. And that's Tua, and that's Joe Burrow.
Is Tua not throwing? I know Burrow's not, but is Tua not?
I don't believe. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's even ready yet.
Why would you? Well, yeah, he's got the medical.
And Joe Burrow shouldn't. You know, Joe Burrow. Why? That's been a discussion too. You know, why don't you do this? You can help. No, he would only hurt his stock. Let's go to your pro day with your receivers. You know that you already have timing down with. You're probably still practicing with them. And let's see you at your best right there. I mean, the combine is pointless for either one of these guys, in my opinion. It's more important for Tua, you know, just because of the injury. The sooner he can get back on the field, the better. But Burrow, he shouldn't go. And I don't know. I'm not huge interested in it because I think the Browns are going to go offensive tackle, and they should, unless they pick up Conklin from the Titans. You know, but I think that's where they're going. So I don't know. I'm just not high into it. It's not a top priority this year as it is in years past, just because the guys aren't even really out there competing.
So my biggest takeaway from the combine so far is that all you motherfuckers were wrong. All right, you motherfuckers were wrong. Oh, he's gonna pull an Eli. He's gonna pull an Elway. No, you specifically didn't.
What if?
Yeah, you specifically didn't. You just said that you would laugh at me for like an entire year if it happened.
Yeah, I mean,
but
he pretty much
fair.
Came out and he's going one.
And the fucking media, dude. After that, he said, "I'm a ball player. Whoever drafts me, I'm gonna show up." He said, I was never trying to be This isn't an exact quote, but it's the point he made. He said, I'm not trying to be presumptuous about the pick. I didn't want to come out. And he said, I've been non-committal because they may fall in love with somebody else. He said he would be excited to play for the Cincinnati Bengals. He will show up to whatever team drafts him, and the media's like, oh, well, he could have said, I would love to play in Cincinnati. Like, fucking stop. The narrative is dead. He killed it. Stop.
Everybody's just looking for a story. That's all it is.
Jesus Christ. But he came out. He said, no issues coming to play in Cincinnati. I can be home for dinner in 2 hours and 15 minutes if I want to. And a lot of people may not know, his girlfriend lives in Mason, right outside of Cincinnati. So
because nobody really lives in Cincinnati.
Yeah, nobody. Yeah, living in Cincinnati proper sounds fucking awful. They all live in like Norwood but yeah. But the thing that mattered for Joe Burrow at this was, and it was like, he's got tiny hands. Oh my God. Like, all right. He was in the humid weather in the SEC playing against the most pro-ready teams you can play against.
60 fucking touchdown passes.
I think he fumbled the ball 4 times.
Yeah, I mean.
So he had a funny tweet, though. It said, considering retirement after finding out the football will slip out of my tiny hands. Please keep me in your thoughts. I thought that was funny. Of course, Colin Cowherd said he's cocky and immature now, so he may be this year's Baker.
He's going to be.
He may be the Bengals and Browns fans.
You guys can join in because
we may bond over this. Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why people have such a problem with a guy playing with a chip on his shoulder. I mean, I get it. There are times I do want Baker to shut up.
Yes.
I don't think Burrow's going to be on that level. Don't get me wrong. I think Burrow is cocky. I mean, just what he does after winning, but it's after he wins when he does it.
That's a difference.
Yeah, so, I mean, Joe Burrow, number 1 to the Bengals, and I'm about 99.9% sure of that.
I think the Bengals are about 100% sure with that. But where the combine mattered for him was, I don't think there was ever in the plans for him to throw or work out. He has his own thing he's been doing. He's been working out with Jordan Palmer a lot. It was nice of Jordan Palmer also to come out and say, oh, well, Carson Palmer's been shitting on the Bengals, and you're Carson's brother, and you're training Burrow. And I watched the interview today. Jordan Palmer's like, look, man, when I was playing in Cincinnati, I separated myself from Carson. I was my own guy. Carson's saying his thing. I'm training Burrow to have the best rookie year that he can possibly have. Burrow's doing his thing. He's like, I'm not in all that shit. Yeah. He said, it's a whole new regime. I don't know what things are like there. He said, I don't know what things are like at UTEP anymore, and that's where I went to college. So that was cool. But what was important for Burrow was, I think, the interview process.
Yeah. From what I've seen, he killed it.
He's always been a well-spoken person. Never really said anything out of pocket, but I read a quote, and I took a picture of it on my phone. I can't remember who said it, so I apologize for not citing the source, but it says, during the 18-minute interview session, Burrow, looking more and more like he could be the Bengals' next franchise quarterback, reportedly had an engaged give and take with everybody from Bengals president Mike Brown. So it was obviously before
Mike Brown actually talked.
It was obviously before 3 p.m. because that's when Mike eats dinner and goes to bed. Head coach Zach Taylor, director of player personnel Duke Tobin, who is kind of effectively the Bengals GM, and offensive coordinator Brian Callahan. One club official not among that group said it was the best interview he had ever attended. Yeah. So Burrow has proven himself.
Not to rain on the parade here, but man, there's some shitty names outside of Joe Burrow.
Huh?
Mike Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Brown, Duke Tobin, and
Duke Tobin deserves a little bit of credit for how things kind of picked up there for a little bit, I guess, because that's when he kind of came into the swing. But, yeah, I'm not a huge supporter. I'm not going to fall on a sword to support that guy either. There's a plan that can be laid out to fix the Bengals relatively easily. I think they're going to have $55 million in cap space, but I'm going to tell you one thing that they can sell.
They're not going to spend on free agency.
Well, I'm telling you one thing that they can sell to Joe Burrow. They already have 55. Get rid of Andy, get you 17 back. Get rid of Cordy Glenn, get you about 8 back. Get rid of Kirkpatrick, get you about 8 back. Get rid of Gio Bernard, get you about 5 back. Get rid of Bobby. There's an out in Bobby Hart's contract. He can
they're not going to take that.
That shitty but you can get $5 million back. I ran the numbers. I don't have it all in front of me.
The thing is this though. You can get hype about having all the money and all you want, but they never spend in free agency.
Well, you have to now. You have to spend a certain percentage of your cap money.
With so many years, I don't know, there's weird ways to get around it and all that shit. And you know what the Bengals are going to do. They're going to pay the guys that are already there. Hey, you're turning 50. Here's here's $50 million. You know, that's just what they do. I mean, come on. Don't get me wrong. You should be fucking ecstatic about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had probably the best season from a college quarterback that I've ever seen, and probably anyone else. But don't get fucking excited about free agency, dude, because it's not going to happen.
I'm not getting excited. I'm just saying there is a path. That doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, but they can add a total of $42.75 million to it, and
I don't expect it.
Well, Andy's gone for sure.
Yeah, I mean
but
yeah.
They're
they
top
should try and keep Cordy.
Yeah, and it depends though, because
I don't care how the relationship is. I don't
know.
The whole damn team changed when he came back last year.
Yeah, but he's not going to play left tackle next year. That's Jonah Williams. How good can he be at guard?
Make Jonah Williams his first year right tackle. That's what I'd do.
Maybe.
Cordy Glenn changed the team.
He did.
A left tackle changes the team just like a edge rusher and
if
quarterback.
Anything,
not as much as a quarterback, but yes, a left tackle changes almost everything.
Oh, if anything, I'm doing this. I'm fucking sending Bobby Hart to Mexico.
On the bench.
No, to somewhere far, far away.
Like you always say, though, Mike Brown owes him money, so he's probably not going to.
But he can get out of it and save money.
When does that ever?
It's an out in his contract.
When has he ever cared about that?
He cares about saving money more than anything.
You know, it's always the same players with the Bengals.
I don't know.
I'm not going to.
But
I'm not just.
I'm saying if it was me,
this is what they do. They don't spend on free agency. They pay guys. They just keep paying these guys. You know, it's like Geno. You should have got what you could out of Geno. You know, the one I always say you can argue Dunlap, whatever. I would personally let him go and let Carl Lawson get some more playing time. But yeah, I mean.
I'm just saying there's a path to sell Joe Burrow on it. Not saying that they'll go down with it.
And then what? You don't do it, and then he gives you a fucking Carson Palmer speech.
Well, I mean, that was my thing from the start, though. What's he going to do? They draft him. He's not going to sign. He's just going to sit out. They own him for 4 years.
No. He's going to play.
He's going to play. But I'm just saying, and Drake Kirkpatrick, go. Please.
Yeah.
Please go somewhere. Resign Darqueze Dennard to play the slot, though.
They have to. We've said this, like. And I don't like the Bengals mainly just because of the fans. But if you're going to do it right. You know, like be aggressive. Get aggressive in free agency. Get aggressive in the draft. You know, if you need to move up from that first pick in the second, move up. Add another year to another first round pick.
Absolutely.
Like you need to be aggressive. Sitting back and waiting is just going to give you nothing from Joe Burrow because he's not going to be able to do it himself. Now, and, you know, and there are people, they were talking about how everything's going to be miserable in Cincinnati. Listen, I hate Cincinnati. I just said that, but that's not true. If you want to look at misery, go look at my team. Go look at the Browns. The fucking Bengals are going to the playoffs. You know, they're losing playoff games, but they're going to the playoffs. You know, it's not miserable like other people think. Now, it's been miserable the last couple years because you're coming to an end of an era with Marvin, you know, and, you know, you have a new coach, you know, you get the number one pick, but it all starts right here with Joe Burrow. But it doesn't end there. That's where it starts. You got to get aggressive in the draft, and you got to get aggressive in free agency, and you got to help this guy out. Otherwise, you're just going to break him, and he's going to be nothing. He's going to be playing in the XFL.
And that can happen, but I don't have the teams in front of me, but I read this the other day, and I must have deleted it from my phone because I wanted to use it to talk about here. The narrative that Cincinnati is just this wasteland is, I get it, but in the last decade, and let's talk recent history, the Bengals have appeared in the playoffs more than 17 other teams in the league. Over half the league.
Yeah.
They've been to the playoffs.
That's what I was just saying.
So that was what I was understanding. Miami did some good things last year, but what's to say that he's better off to go to an organization like Detroit or Washington or any of
the biggest thing that comes with the biggest knock that I have against your Bengals is the fans. I'm not saying you're one. I'm not saying that the person listening to this right now is one of them. But listen, when they lose, you guys don't show up. If it wasn't for the TV deal, you guys would fucking get blacked out. You guys are fair. A lot of you are.
That started happening when Cleveland was very bad the last couple of years, too.
Cleveland was selling out. They were never getting blacked out.
Well,
they're always selling enough tickets.
The blackout rule's been gone for 5 years now, but I'm saying before they got Baker, they were having attendance problems too when they were shitty.
Dude, they had a fucking parade of 0-16. That's how bad the fans wanted it. Like
that doesn't fill the stadium.
You're not going to see that shit down in Cincinnati. They only show up when they're winning.
Well, there's a difference there that I can point out.
I get Mike Brown. Listen, I get it.
People are sending a message to him. Because Jimmy Haslam, you can never tell me that since Jimmy Haslam's taken over the Browns with as bad as they've been, he's trying. Yeah, he's spending the money. He's doing the things.
You know how he probably owes fucking 5 different coaches still.
Yeah, for sure.
He's like, look, you're not going to work. Get the fuck out.
So I think that I understand that, and that can be seen as fair weather, but as somebody that has such a hand on the pulse of the Cincinnati fan base, people were saying we have to hit Mike Brown where it hurts, and that's in his pocket.
But then the TV deal came, and it doesn't matter. He don't care if you go to the game or not.
Well, he does.
You said this all season last year.
He
doesn't care because of the
TV deal makes him care a lot less. But if fans were filling the stands when they were shitty with Marvin Lewis that last year, Marvin would have been back. The stands were empty, and whether or not you care about the money or not, or you're getting the money from the TV deal, as an owner of an NFL team, as lazy and cheap as you want to be, you don't want to be the team that always has the empty stadium.
I don't think he cares.
Maybe not, because he's fucking 85.
I always kind of took the dude's back. I didn't really know until I kind of dug into it and seen it for myself how careless he actually is.
Dude, you know how bad he fucked Hamilton County on that stadium deal?
My
God. The Bengals may leave in a few years.
And that's the reason why.
Because he fucked them so bad, and then the county commissioner that pushed the stadium deal through got a cushy front office job with the Bengals right after. He fucked them hard. I'm not making excuses for Mike Brown by any means, but for the fans that didn't show up and didn't buy the tickets and didn't buy the beer and didn't buy all that, the whole stand was, and maybe he didn't care because of the TV deal, but the idea behind that wasn't fuck this team, we don't care, but it's this guy cares about money. And if we don't give him our money for ticket sales and all that stuff, maybe something will happen. And I think that led to the end of the Marvin Lewis era by a year at least. So I understand your point on that.
Well, listen, I just want to touch on that real quick. Listen, there are some really good, really cool Bengals fans. You know, there are some. It's just, you know, there are some that's like, all right, this is what I see. But there's some that is just like, Andy Dalton's not part of the problem. He's never been the problem. Blah, blah, blah. Come on.
He chokes.
Come on.
He can't take any kind of pressure whatsoever.
There was so many games on prime time or when it mattered that guy just fucking sucked. And you guys will now admit that however many years later when Burrow shows up and you actually see what a good quarterback looks like.
2013 was the end for me. The Bengals-Chargers playoff game that we went to in the snow, you and I, he was diving for a first down, didn't get touched, fumbled. That's when I was like, all right, fuck this dude. Like, I'm out. I defended him for, the first 3-4 years, whatever it was, but the dude likes no kind of pressure. And yes, there are Bengals fans that will say, well, Dalton's a franchise quarterback. No, and I've said it 1,000 times. Dalton can he was putting up an MVP caliber season before he got hurt in 2015. But in 2015, what did he have? Right. He had a great offensive line. He had plenty of healthy weapons, a healthy Tyler Eifert, a great run game.
Did he have Gruden? Didn't he have Jay Gruden?
No, that was the Hugh year because Cleveland swooped in and got Hugh the next year.
And Hugh was a damn good – and Hugh probably still is a damn good offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But, that's what Dalton needs. He needs really good coaching because he's just not a really good quarterback. But enough about those fuckers. I hate them.
You motherfuckers were wrong. He's coming. I'm going to order the jersey from China right now, coronavirus or not. I don't give a shit. Big Dick Joe coming to Cincinnati. I don't give a shit. So let's get into the questions from our listeners on our Facebook page. I'm just going to go from top to bottom the way that they're appearing on my screen right now. Aaron Lakes, you said that this was not your locker room because we went to the UD game and rooted for the Flyers. And we're not an anti-Frickers podcast. So we went to Frickers before and after that game. So if you hear this, stop with the hatred, but we'll answer your question.
Damn good beer prices. Frickers.
And this is so funny to me. So funny. Why is Wilder blaming his walkout costume for his loss? I don't know if you guys caught that Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight, but man, he got his ass whooped and
for 7 rounds. Tyson Fury fucking put it on him
and said that he blamed it on the fact that his costume that he walked out in weighed 40 pounds.
What a bunch of
and he
shit.
Didn't have his legs.
Yeah, he didn't have his legs because he got fucking his eardrum busted or whatever.
His equilibrium was off.
Yeah, and fucking he was unbalanced, and you could see it after that.
I was
dude
shocked.
Couldn't stand up, man. Tyson Fury put it on his ass, and I was in here the Thursday before that, and I said Wilder wins by knockout. But
I thought
God,
so too.
Was I wrong? And fucking Tyson Fury, dude. I want to see so bad him and Joshua. What's his last name? Fuck, I'm drawing a blank.
Burnett,
Joshua.
We
Burnett.
were just talking about it at work today. I can't think of the guy's last name. And to this point, my boy Cricket, we just talked about this the other day. If you can't handle wearing a 40-pound costume for a 100-feet walk, why the fuck are you in a boxing ring?
Well, why are you wearing it in the first place?
Yeah. And my cousin John texted me this today, and he made a good point. You know what the most intimidating walkout I think I've ever seen in boxing was? It was Mike Tyson simply walking out with his head covered by a towel.
Yeah.
In his prime, because that was just a bad motherfucker. And Fury came in on a fucking throne, dude, like a boss, dude. Sitting on a throne with the king, having fucking people carrying it. That was dope. But come on, Wilder. If you can't handle 40 pounds for 100 feet and then get in a fight, don't get in a fucking boxing ring.
I didn't see if he really said that, but if he said that,
he
did?
Yeah.
And it wasn't Joshua Burnett, my bad. It's Anthony Joshua. Is who
I
want to see Tyson Fury fight next. I think that, two bigger guys. Wilder's just kind of, he kind of got outclassed in the fact that you knew all he had was that big right hand. Nothing else was going to work. And like I said, Fury for 7 rounds, dude, beat that dude's ass so bad that they had to throw in the towel. Now listen, Wilder didn't want that. He's like, why would you do that? Let me go out. And I respect that. That's what I respect the most. But the dude was clearly unbalanced. He definitely didn't have his legs after he took that hard hit to the head, ear area.
Oh, no, that fucks you up.
Tyson Fury, though, man, just put it on him.
And staying on that subject, I was talking to, he goes by Cricket. His name's Jimmy Weathers. I work with him. He's actually a big boxing guy. He actually goes to a boxing gym and still does it himself, but he's always followed boxing his whole life. On that, he asked on there, were you surprised by how dominant Fury looked in his fight against Wilder? And
I am a little surprised.
A point that Jimmy made to me at work the other day talking was, you saw Fury come in there as a boxer. Wilder looked like a puncher.
Yeah.
And there's a difference.
Yeah, there's a big difference. That's what I was saying, about the knockout. That Wilder was going for the knockout, and if that connected, Fury might have been in trouble, but he couldn't, and he got outboxed big time.
He looked like a puncher instead of a boxer. So, I was surprised how dominant Fury looked. I thought Wilder by knockout, but I thought it was going to be a much better fight than it was.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So moving on to a loyal listener and a top fan, John Fisher asked, whose rookie year is more impressive, LeBron or Zion? And I think that's a good one.
That's a damn good question. It's a little tough because Zion has only played a handful of games.
Yeah, LeBron played 79, 82.
It is tough. I think Zion's going to be a star. I think, he's going to be great. We sat in here and we were talking about John Morant is going to be better than him, but God, Zion is already quickly changing my mind with how athletic and, they had a picture of how high that dude jumped in the Lakers game. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah,
dude. His hand was as high as the top of the backboard.
It was insane.
Holy shit. But John, I think I can't go away from LeBron's rookie year, man. LeBron is just an all-time top 3 player. Zion's having a great year, but I'm gonna have to go with LeBron on that.
I am too.
He played the full season. The injuries have never been there with LeBron. Not that they will continue to stay with Zion. I just think from a pure basketball standpoint, don't get me wrong, Zion can dunk and do a lot of shit. LeBron could too back in his younger days, and he still can. But
Josh Hart.
LeBron is just more complete, so I'm going to go with LeBron.
Yeah, and we're looking at 13 games of Zion,
right.
And I can look at numbers for 79 in his rookie year of LeBron, and LeBron came in and played Summer League. I know Zion tried to, got dinged up. It's hard to go against LeBron, and I'm going to have to say that LeBron's was still more impressive, but something could happen, and at the end of the season this year, I'm saying something different. My knock on Zion, not even a knock, my worry about Zion is how long are those knees going to hold up?
Right.
Carrying that big-ass frame around, doing all those crazy dunks and blocking shots and flying around. How long do the knees hold up on that is my biggest concern with that. But I have to stick with LeBron's rookie year still. But that's a great question. So moving on, DC Fortson Kind of a two-parter here. I'll go first on this one. Let's get some MMA talk in here. It's been announced that Aldo and Zadejo, is that how I pronounce it?
Henry Cejudo, yeah.
Cejudo will be fighting for the champions come this summer. He said Aldo has a few losses here recently, and people are saying he doesn't deserve it. What's your take on that? And who do you think should be fighting?
Me, you, and Austin actually had this conversation, about Jose and Henry. And at first when it was announced, like I said, we're in that group message. I'm kind of like, what the fuck? Like, why?
Yeah, you're like,
Jose lost his last fight, but he clearly won it.
He
won. That makes sense. He won it. He was kind of robbed by the judges. Everyone in the world agreed with it. And Austin made a good point. Who else? Who else is Henry going to fight? Obviously, TJ suspended, and all that sort. So I think at this point, yes, this is the fight to make. I just think that Aldo is going to be a huge task for Henry Cejudo. So it's going to be one to watch. I think Henry pulls it out there, but Aldo definitely has a shot, man. Aldo was at one point one of the best fighters in the world. He still is until Conor laid him out. But that's a great question too by DC. But I like the fight now, DC. I didn't like it at the beginning, but think about this: who else? Who else deserves that fight at that weight class? With those smaller guys. I mean, I just can't think of anyone else.
Yeah, and the second part to his question is he switched to the NFL. The Panthers recently came out and said that they will be moving forward with Cam Newton. I'm not still sure on the rehab status of that injured foot. But he asked, do you think that it's a good move, or should the Panthers look at this draft class or maybe next draft class for their next quarterback? And Cam's contract is up after this coming season, so that is an option for them. They'd have a clear out.
Yeah, I think they should have moved on. I think it's time. I think that's kind of, it's very similar. Cam's obviously way better than Andy Dalton, but that's the kind of the situation that I look at. It's time at this point to move on. But I heard it's the injury thing here. Maybe they're hoping Cam can get back before the trade deadline and move him for a draft pick or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly the outage on the money or anything like that. But I personally think it's time for them to move on from Cam Newton.
I think that they easily could have, but looking at where they're picking in the draft, barring a trade, and there was the obvious Joe Brady is now the Panthers offensive coordinator, make a move for Burrow thing. I think now that we know that is pretty much out, the Bengals aren't going to move that pick. They're going to take Burrow at 1. Tua's not getting past Miami at 5. The Chargers at 6 could jump into the Justin Herbert race. Do the Panthers kind of reach and take on a 2-year project that I think that a Bryce Love would be? I don't know. So I think word may have gotten around that, like, okay, we're not getting the pick out of Cincinnati. We're not going to be able to put Burrow with Joe Brady. So what do we do here? They're kind of in that purgatory stage that I think the Bengals were at for several years because they were losing, but they weren't losing bad.
If that's the case, I get it. If they're like, okay, what out there is better than than Cam?
Unless they think they can go get a Teddy Bridgewater, but apparently they don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think I was reading something that this has a lot to do with the injury, kind of just waiting for him to get healthy.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. I think they could have moved on, but looking at the draft order and what we know about some of the higher picks in the quarterback race, I mean, I don't think going out and getting a Phillip Rivers is going to be any kind of fix. I don't, the free agent class isn't all that strong. Draft position wise, I don't know that they're going to get one of the top quarterback prospects. So I can see going into another year with Cam, but I could have also had no problem with them moving on. Michael Stevens, I know he listens to our stuff a lot, shares it on his Facebook page, trying to get it out to us. He said Burrow excluded the question, who do you think in this draft matches the Bengals play style the best? I don't think that's a big deal because I know he has a chip on his shoulder and a swagger and a confidence and cockiness about him, but I don't think he was going to sit on the podium and be like, well, I'm the best.
Baker Mayfield would have.
You're right.
No,
You're
I mean, if
you're
you're
absolutely right.
going to be cocky, be fucking cocky.
But I wouldn't call Burrow necessarily cocky.
He's cocky.
I would call it more confident than cocky.
Dude, look at your fucking shirt. He's cocky.
Well, Cincy shirts did that. He was just smoking a cigar. He didn't sell this shirt. The fucking Cincy shirts website did.
What other college fucking player have you seen smoke a cigar?
They all did it. They were fucking balling.
Before them. You ever seen it? I don't think
I've also never seen a player hand out wads of cash.
I'm just saying, like, he is cocky. I think he should have just said right then and there, it's going to be me. Like Baker. Baker said, if anybody's going to turn around the Browns franchise, it's going to be me.
And I like that.
Yeah, and I love that shit. I love that too. That's going to make that team be like, yeah. That's our guy.
I would have liked it if Burrow said that. I just don't think it's a huge deal that he didn't.
No, but like I said, if you're going to be cocky, fucking be cocky.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And he got a two-part question as well, and this is something that would probably lean more towards your opinion as a fan. Is this a make or break year for Baker Mayfield?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes,
I think
it
is.
You know, and you know, you always want to give these quarterbacks time, but dude, the fucking weapons are there. You have a great offensive-minded coach coming in, and Kevin Stefanski. You have great coaches around that. Van Pelt from Cincinnati, that was with Aaron Rodgers. Love him. I think he's going to be great with Baker. But yes, I mean, you had one rookie season that has never been done, and then you had a very bad season when you got even more weapons. Like I said, I do blame that on coaching, but now you have one of the best offensive play callers in the league. That's going to open things up. And don't get me wrong, Baker can make these throws. If you don't think Baker can't make these throws, you're crazy. We know Baker can make throws. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. I mean,
he's got to fix his footwork.
Exactly. And that's exactly what Van Pelt said. He came out and he said, we've got to fix his feet, and that's right. No more throwing off.
You said that all year last year.
Exactly. No more throwing off your back foot. No more of this crazy shit. You know, you're going to get a lot of play action.
Where he's very good out of.
Where he's the best at, in my opinion. But yeah, this is a make or break season for Baker, and I think Baker is going to have a great season. Now, you know, I wouldn't put my name. I'm not going to put my name on it. I mean, there's listeners, but yes, the answer to the question is yes, and my reply is Baker's going to have a great season ahead. It
is a make or break year for Baker Mayfield, and they need to get him some protection. He's not in a situation where I think it's as bad as maybe a Burrow's walking into in Cincinnati, but they had some issues keeping him upright last year. They need to protect him, but it is a make or break year.
Left tackles is huge.
And, you know, can that rookie slot in and be that? I don't know. Greg Robinson's not going to be it. He's got a lot of pot to deal with and maybe a lot of time in jail to deal with.
About 20 years?
I'm a Baker fan. I don't like the way that Baker has made a lot of Browns fans. They've become quickly one of the more insufferable fan bases in the league, as you feel about the Bengals. So I guess that's kind of a rivalry thing.
Yeah, but I kind of want to cut you off there. If you watch Baker go on, you know, talk to when he actually went in studio and talked to Rex Ryan, and you know he went and talked to Skip and Shannon. If you haven't seen it, it's real good stuff.
Recently,
yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, within the last couple weeks, he actually went into studio and said, you know, I think Baker is to the point where he's done talking.
Good.
And I love it.
Good.
He said he's putting a lot of this shit on himself as far as the negative feedback and talking to, you know, walking out on reporters and saying the shit that he says. Now, don't get me wrong. When you say something to somebody right after a game and they just took a bad loss or had a bad game, it's not the time. I can getting frustrated.
Oh, dude, I do.
You know,
I don't
obviously, play. I fucking hate all of the reporters down there in Cleveland. Look at what Tony Grossi.
I was going to bring that up.
Tony Grossi just got suspended for calling Baker a fucking midget. But that now you see why. That is the same guy Baker walked out on when he asked that stupid fucking question. I mean, they're awful down there, man. There's a handful of good ones, but the reporters are just they're awful in Cleveland. And but I don't know. Away from that, if you get a chance, Drew, you too, watch that.
I'll check that out.
I think Baker's going to have a really good year, and I'm calling it. I'm calling that one.
How much of that is him really wanting to put that on himself, or him trying to spin the media narrative? Either way, that's the way to go about it.
No, he put it on. You know, he still's taking the blame like Baker does, but he's saying he needs to shut up a little bit.
Right,
Is what he's saying.
I'm wondering if he really wants to shut up, or if he's just like, I need to say that, and I will shut up. But either way, it's the right
as
move.
you mature in the league and you start looking at these good quarterbacks, your Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson's, Tom Brady's, I think you see he's like, man, all right, yeah, it's time for me to shut up.
Well, and he just got outed for getting his dick sucked behind a Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, and if you notice, man, like he would do what somebody who got caught cheating is doing.
He blocked her immediately.
Well, I mean, not only did he block her, but his whole fucking Instagram and all that is about his wife. All of a sudden, it's like she loves him enough to stay, with the money or whatever.
He got that dick.
He got caught, getting his dick sucked behind the Cheesecake Factory by some whore. And
she's not even that good looking either. She's gross.
But that dude definitely got caught.
So moving on, my boy Kevin Weaver, said, let's talk about the Houston assholes, meaning the Houston Astros. Vegas has the over-under at 82.5 of being hit by pitches this year, and he's taking the over, and I think I am too.
Yeah, I'm taking the over on that, man. Bunch of fucking cheaters.
People do not fuck with that unwritten rule shit in baseball, and people are very mad that the players aren't getting more disciplined. So.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, you know what pitch is coming.
Yeah.
There's been, Mike Trout and numerous other players have come out and said, if I knew what pitch was coming, I would have got it on base a lot more.
Absolutely.
I'd have hit the ball a lot more. Like, you don't think that is a huge advantage?
Massive advantage.
Oh, hey, slider's coming. Hey, fastball right down. I mean, come on. I mean, something should have been done more, man. That's just I don't get it.
Astros players are going to come up to bat in the first inning and then see somebody already warming up in the bullpen and just know it's coming.
Oh, yeah,
somebody's getting tossed.
You're taking one to the head, bro.
So that's it. Moving on. Lisa Moore, my brother Mike's mother, asked, do you think UD will make it to the championship? I unfortunately do not.
I do not. I don't.
I would love it.
No, don't get me wrong. There's they're going to make a run.
Yeah.
I think now I'm starting to think I think they're going to get a 1 seed. 2 minimum, 3's out. It's 1 or 2.
Yeah.
It's just the level of competition that they've played scares me. The losing to the 2 teams that were ranked, but
right.
being close, games they should have won, scares me a little bit. Being the 1 seed, you're going to face that 16 and then place that 8 or 9, and you're going to be able to try and get on a run. But this is what we said kind of at the beginning of this episode here. I think I would like to. I hate to say it. I would like to see him. I wouldn't mind a loss to Davidson, kind of end the streak. But then again, does that affect them getting that 1 seed and drop them to a 2? I don't know. I don't know how they'll play in that. But yeah, I don't want them to go in there on this big fucking streak and all that, man. Now, if they did and they end up winning all, that would be, God, can you imagine the parties around here? We'd have to
oh, God, like we
dress
did last
up
time?
real young again, shave our beards off, and just go down there.
My beard's not going fucking anywhere.
And be students again like we did that one year, years and years ago. But unfortunately, I don't, but I would love to see it.
Yeah, man, thinking about and I saw a thing today that was kind of cool. They're saying, this season's about more than basketball. Dayton's had the mass shooting, the tornadoes, still in the opioid epidemic. Very cool story that can be attached to it, and that can lift them up, and I think it has done a good job of kind of lifting the city up through what was a pretty dark time.
Yeah. It's a good point.
So, there's
shit like that just seems to
happen in sports.
Fall in place. Like,
yeah.
Kind of like the Kobe Bryant death. What will the Lakers do? I mean, that could play into it, but I unfortunately do not think that they'll win the championship. I think my rooting order to win the championship would go Duke and then Dayton in the tournament. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to get to see either of those. So I will say this. I'm going to come out and say this. Fuck it. I think Dayton has a bigger chance than Duke.
I think they do too. Too much inconsistency I've seen from Duke. Too many letdowns. Too many games that just slip by that shouldn't. So that wraps it up for our Facebook questions, and I think that about does it for this episode. Yeah. Stay active with us. We'll post this up tonight. We'll have some more stuff going on coming into the weekend here in sports. NBA is really, really kicking into gear. College basketball, obviously March Madness is on the way, and then check out the full reports that we've saw from players on the Combine. And then we'll probably transition a little bit more into some of the free agency stuff.
That's going to be a super fun time right here, man. I hope a lot of people get involved with that. The free agency. We're friends with a lot of people that like a different teams.
Yeah.
Get involved. Like, who do you want to see? That's a good one. Who would you like to see your team pick up in free agency?
We'll hit that next week.
Yeah, I mean, so
we'll put that out.
It's going to start getting fun, like you said. The conference championships and the March Madness, they're both around the corner. NBA playoffs isn't too far away. Obviously the combine's going, but we're going to have the free agency and then the draft. So it's going to get fun here, and we're going to have a lot to say about those things.
I have the most fun when I'm reading the questions and getting the feedback from the people that take the time to listen to us. So we appreciate it. Tune in with us next week. Locker Room Talk Uncut.